Welcome into PressBox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of PressBox and PressBoxOnline.com. And with me, as always, on these Monday night excursions into the world of baseball is Ross Grimsley. How are you, old
Good,
left-hander?
Stan. Doing good, buddy. Doing good.
All right. Good to see you again, as always. And in just a moment, we're going to be talking to one of our favorite Orioles. He wore number 14 for the Baltimore Orioles. He is Mike Bordick, and we're going to find out what he's up to and all the other things that he does right now in the world of baseball. But first, I got to tell you a little bit about the Costas Inn. Everybody knows who sees these Zooms every week that the Costas Inn has really stepped up and improved their curbside pickup, or as we old timers used to call it, takeout. During the pandemic, there's a lot of people that still aren't comfortable going into a restaurant. They fixed up their area where you pick up food. It's really nice and new and sparkly clean. And they really made it very easy for folks to order. If you go online at costasin.com, you can order your food, you can pick up your food, and when you do pick up that food, you can order your food, you can pay for your food, and then when you pick it up, you don't even have to get out of your car. They'll bring it right out there. And as I always like to plug, because if you've gotten carry out from different places, a lot of times things pour all over the place when you're driving at home. Everything is packed immaculately by the Costas Inn. They're located at 4100 North Point Boulevard. They're great for steamed crabs, crab cakes, crab soups, but a whole lot more. Take a look at their menu online, costasin.com, and you can order online. All right, joining us now is Mike Bordick. And Mike, been a while since we talked. We always appreciate your time. I wanted to ask you, start off offbeat question with you. Orioles at the trade deadline this year traded one of the most popular Orioles, Trey Mancini. And when you look at the offensive numbers of the team, I'd still say he was a pretty valuable member of the team from an offensive standpoint. You were traded by the Orioles back in, help me out, what year, 95?
No, 2000.
Yeah. He's aging you, man. He's aging.
I know. God, let's go, man.
You were traded by Sid Thrift. And
yes, I was.
And you got traded to the New York Mets, and we didn't really get much in return, as much as I think we should have for you. But we did get. I take it back. We did get one really good player, Melvin Mora.
Yeah,
pretty darn good for about 7 or 8 years with the Orioles.
Yeah,
but the point of the story is, very few people that get traded that are free agents at the end of the year are both wanted and then want to come back where they were traded from. That's the case with Trey Mancini. I don't know how much he's desiring to come back or not, and I don't know how much the team is desirous of talking to him, but I'm wondering what went into your decision back in 2001 during the offseason of 2000 that led you back to Baltimore.
Well, I think just speaking for Trey a little bit, I think he'd love to come back to Baltimore. Trey's, grew up here. Worked his way through the minor leagues, was a fan favorite, obviously, for more than a couple reasons when he came up to the Baltimore Orioles. Certainly close to everybody's heart. And so I think Trey would fit right in nicely here in Baltimore. Whether or not they want him back, that's yet to be seen. But as far as my decision-making went, I didn't think the Orioles wanted me back, to be honest with you. And from what I understood, Sid Thrift was kind of checking the free agent market and just couldn't find any takers, I guess, to come into Baltimore and play. So I'm not sure if I was a last resort or what, but they asked if I had any interest in coming back. And I said, absolutely. And to be honest with you, we were so unsure of what our future might hold, whether or not I'd even get a job again. We ended up buying a house up in Maine. We never moved to the house. We never got in it or anything, put a stitch of furniture in it. We ended up signing back with Baltimore for 2 years and kept our family here. And I think just that decision ended up being, now we've been here for, my gosh, over 20 years. So we love it here. This is our home and has been for a long time.
It's interesting you bring that up because it does take two to tango. And, we kind of assumed Trey would like to come back here, even with the left field wall being moved back and all that. But you have to have the baseball management people think that there is a place for you on this team. And when I look at the team, one of the weakest links on the team is on base percentage collectively. There's an awful lot of 305s on this team. And Trey was, I think, at 345 last year, 346. Do you think there's a place for him here? I know you're not Mike Elias and you're not Sig, but do you think there's could be a place for him?
Well, to be honest with you, listen, I love Trey Mancini more than any other Oriole fan. I just cannot see them bringing Trey back, sadly, because I just think there's so much talent now, young talent in the minor leagues, that they've got to start exposing these guys to the major league level. They made some nice moves this past year, bringing some young guys up, giving them a taste of the major league atmosphere. And I think they really thrived up here. I think it was a great combination of some really good veteran guys. I think this youth movement has really taken hold of the organization, and they all want to be a part of it. Now, they obviously all have to produce when they get these opportunities, but there's some big bats in the minor leagues. There's some really nice offensive players. And I think, if you bring in some guys that kind of block them, I think you're just kind of defeating the purpose of what this rebuild was all about. So I'm all for bringing the young guys up.
Before I turn you over to Ross, do you see a fit when you look out there? Is it like a Tampa Bay on a 1-year contract or something like that? They're fond of 1-year contracts. Where do you think he fits?
See, that's a great call. Tampa Bay, I think, is a really intriguing spot for Trey Mancini. I think the fact that he is used to the American League East, I think bodes well for him landing with a spot here. He's a veteran guy. He's always done damage up in Fenway Park, too. Yeah. I remember his first series up there, kind of forced Buck into putting him in the lineup. He had a couple home runs right out of the gate. He always does well up in Fenway. So I know there are a lot of teams that are intrigued by Trey Mancini. He has a little bit of versatility. I'm not going to say he's a above average defender, but he can play first base. He can play outfield as well. But it's his bat that's his strength. And if you put him in the right kind of ballpark, I think he's going to do really good things.
And he can save you a World Series game every once in a while.
There you go. Absolutely. You know what? And that said, there's a reason why, because nobody works harder than that guy.
Yeah.
And that might not show up on analytics, but I'll tell you what, he is maximizing his ability every day he takes the field. And that's why he's such a great pro.
Ross, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. Mike, the O's, I think were, they were 83 and 79 this year. We kind of surprising a lot of people to take that next step. What do you see them having to try to do as far as free agent market trades, what have you?
Yeah, well, I think this year surprised everybody, not only the fan base, but I think it surprised the organization. Listen, I bet Brandon Hyde will sit there and say, no, we've been working our butts off. We got, changed the locker room talk, this and that. Well, bull crap. They were expected to lose 115 games again this year. What happens, and Ross, you know this as well as anybody, when you all of a sudden start developing team chemistry and you get the right veteran guys that are messaging the right way every day, I think it has a huge impact. And I think they had that. When Chirinos was behind the plate, he was able to all of a sudden settle the pitching staff down. They also had the starting pitcher, the veteran that they haven't re-signed, Lyles, that had an incredible calming influence on the young pitching staff. And of course, Trey Mancini there as well, Odor. There were just some good veterans that I think brought a consistent, strong message, and they overachieved, right? Now, I believe that they should just continue with the youth movement and not get caught up and all of a sudden now's the time to say go and win the American League East. I just think it might be a hair too soon. I know there's great talent there, and I think Rutschman is a great cornerstone for success. Arguably the best defensive pitcher, in the American League right now. And I think he can, do some great things. Obviously, when he got called up, it changed the whole, I guess, the outlook of the team. They all of a sudden, everybody kind of just said, wow, here we go. Now the movement's coming. And he was a major part of that.
That happened too.
Yeah. When you try to build, though, as well as anybody, you need pitching. So if they're going to try to have sustainable success, maybe they can land one or two pitchers, whether it be a starter or another bullpen piece, they need to now with Lyles not re-signed. Maybe, who knows, they'll try to restructure a contract for him, but it is not going to be easy to land a number one or number two guy and get him on the cheap. It's just not happening. You're going to spend money, period. And I think the Orioles were able to save a little bit of money. So hopefully they can go after pitching is the priority. I think their offense can do it. I think defensively they have some outstanding gloves out there. Mateo at shortstop was huge. Mullins out in center field. They've got a strong backbone, man, right up the middle that I think bodes well for success, period. Now you just need pitching, and more pitching.
And more pitching, yeah. Yeah, you said it best with the middle infield. They got a lot of shortstop type guys that can play anywhere. And if you start going out and, like you said, if they think we can contend this year, some of these younger players are going to be set on the back burner where it could be a problem. But I think one of the things, the pitching this year, I think surprised a lot of people as well. Obviously, Rushman and the catching did their thing, but I think moving the fence back was a really big thing. I mean, they had the 8th fewest home runs given up in baseball. They've been number one for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Also, they were the 7th fewest base on balls. So I think having a park where the ball's not going to go out is going to make you more aggressive, and then you get some. And the bullpen was fantastic. I think if they go out and get starting pitching, which is one of the things they need to get some guys that can give them some innings, because the bullpen, as strong as it was, the second half of the season was a full point higher on the earned run average. And that was, I think, due to the fact that they threw 631 innings, the starters threw 800. So it's pretty close, and the bullpen got wore out. And to really be a contender or to get to the playoffs, you're going to have a deep AAA team with those 4A starter or pitchers to come up and spell some of the guys that either get hurt or go through a tired arm phase or something. But another question, you think starting pitching obviously is something that they really need to go out and address. And with the park the way it is, there's a good chance that they can get not your top dog, but you can get some quality guys that can set them in the right direction until some of these younger pitchers get their feet on the ground a little bit. Grayson Rodriguez, one guy in particular.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Every organization, I think, is hungry for pitching. And I think you hit the nail on the head, Ross. I think it's kind of funny how baseball kind of goes in cycles, right? Well, it was Tampa that, years ago all of a sudden started thinking, well, we don't need pitchers to go as long. We can mix and match in the bullpen. We can reach down in the minor leagues, bring up some arms, kind of surprise guys a little bit. And to be honest with you, I think that worked to some degree, but injuries have just gone through the roof with so many breaking balls, so many max effort pitchers.
Max effort breaking balls.
Absolutely.
Unhittable breaking balls.
Yeah. That Tampa came out this past summer and said, we need starters to start going a little bit longer in ball games. So the tide might be going back where they've got to find ways to get guys through the 5th inning, into the 6th, figure out how they're going to have sustainable success going through that lineup the 3rd and maybe even the 4th time. I think the teams that are going to have success are the teams that are going to be able to do that. So, developing those kind of starting pitchers is going to be really important. Guys that are a little bit more durable, not looking over their shoulder after the 5th inning and looking to the bullpen, because you're exactly right. The Oriole bullpen just wore down at the end. Everybody was hanging on by the skin of their teeth, hoping they might have a shot at the postseason, but just the fatigue really set in. And the Orioles were so lucky. They knocked on wood all season long with injuries. John
Yeah.
Means went down early, but other than that, there wasn't a lot that went wrong. They all stayed healthy. The starters were able to make their starts. Some of them got sent down to the minor leagues just to kind of regroup, but they all made their adjustments and came back. And the bullpen, I thought, was incredible how they were able to sustain and endure. They were all overused, but did get a little bit tired at the end. So pitching, listen, everybody's got to go after pitching. Look what Texas did last year. They all of a sudden thought they were going to make a big splash. They went out and signed the shortstop. They went out and signed the second baseman. They spent $700 million, and they were the worst team in the American League West because they had no pitching.
Right.
Period. I mean, I think the Orioles offense is strong enough. I think the fact that they did move that left field wall back at Camden Yards is all of a sudden psychologically, I think, had a huge impact on pitching. Plus the fact that defensively, like we talked about, the backbone is so strong right now. I mean, Arias won a Gold Glove over at third base. Mateo should have won a Gold Glove at shortstop, as far as I'm concerned. You got Gunnar Henderson, who's going to be a MVP caliber type player, in my opinion, every year. Rutschman might be there as well. Cedric Mullins, I mean, is just sensational out in center field. So they've got guys that can catch the ball. They're keeping it in the ballpark at Camden Yards. You just need depth. You just need.
Right. Well, what about Gunnar Henderson? Where's he going to end up?
Wow.
Position wise.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he did a really nice job at third base. And if they can't go out and land another, a quality infielder or call another guy up, I think Arias could play second base. I think, or he's got that versatility where he could be the guy that plays every night, but plays a different position every night, So I think there are a lot of different avenues, but Gunnar Henderson is just, he looks like a freak athlete.
He's
big,
he's pretty special. He really is.
He's strong. He's fast. Cannon for an arm. Nice, quiet presence in the box. I mean, wow, does he look good? Really good.
Bordy, some of the best ball that the Orioles played last year, in my opinion, in July to like sort of July 10th to August 20th or something, was when Mateo was both playing great defense and all of a sudden was playing really solid to spectacular offensively. But then the year ends and you look at his numbers and his on-base percentage is .269. Can a team get away with that mix of talent at short, where he's so good defensively and he can cause you havoc on the base paths, but he doesn't get on base a lot? Can you afford that?
Well, I think teams can. I think the Orioles proved that a number of years ago with Blade out at shortstop. He wasn't.
I thought you were going to say Bordick.
Well, I guess I could have brought him up too.
No. You weren't in
He could hit some.
You weren't
Mike could hit some though.
OPB guy. I'm kidding.
Listen, I know. I think Mateo. He's such an incredible athlete, though. I feel like there's more there offensively. We saw a couple bursts with him, and I mean,
he's like a Ricky Henderson when he is hitting the ball. He makes stuff happen.
Oh, he's incredible. I mean, he flies on the base pass. If he gets on base, it's instant pressure. When he steps in the batter's box, it's instant pressure on the opposing defense. That's why it was nice to see him at the end of the year starting to lay down some bunts a little bit, put a little bit of that speed on the base pass. I think they could put him in situations where he could have success. Now, if you think about how you're going to get Mateo to hit a little bit, you got to start thinking old school strategy. Why not put a hit and run on with him? Why not incorporate that? Just contact baseball. That'll help, get him on base. That's how I kind of learned how to get a little bit more confidence offensively. Lay a bunt down, because even if it's a sacrifice bunt, you feel good about getting a guy in scoring position. And with his speed, even if it's a sacrifice bunt, it might end up turning to be a hit.
No, he gets a ground ball to the infield, it might be a hit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think there are ways that he can be used to be a positive piece of an offensive team. I think his value is just incredible with the glove. like I said, I just can't believe he didn't win the Gold Glove. His defensive metrics were better than
Off the
anybody at
charts.
shortstop. Yeah, his range was incredible, and I'm talking everywhere. I just didn't see a weakness. He made plays where I thought it was just going to be a base hit out in left field. Next thing you know, there's Mateo running underneath it, even out into shallow center field. He was everywhere. He's got a cannon for an arm, and he can throw off balance. Great accuracy. Man, oh man, he's my guy at shortstop.
Can he play the outfield?
You know, I think early on in his career, right, they didn't think he had that kind of skill set to play short, or at least didn't have the internal, I guess, clock to understand how to calm himself down at shortstop. But I saw a great internal clock out there. I didn't see any panic in his game.
Yeah.
I think he can play outfield as well because he moved around. They were trying to find spots for him over the last few years. And, you know, even with the Orioles.
Did he play the outfield this
No, he didn't play any. I don't think he
Not
played
this
much
year.
this year.
They committed to him at shortstop, and they said, it's yours, and he ran with it.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, I want to make sure we get some things in for you because you're kind enough to come on here now. And I know you're doing a lot of things in town. Tell us what you're doing. The fastest way you can find out about Mike Bordick is to go to his website, Mike Bordick 14, that you've 14, MikeBordick14.com. And what are people going to find there?
Well, it's pretty cool. My team, actually, with the help of the Baseball Warehouse, helped create this website. And we're really trying to promote some speaking engagements. I love talking to teams, kids, parents about youth sports, even collegiate sports. It doesn't matter. I spoke with the Frederick Community College baseball team a couple weeks ago. I went on a little tour, and I think you guys both spoke there for Tawny Town Old Timers Baseball. Went and spoke up there. I love that. I've done that a couple times now, and then the Maryland Old Timers as well. So I love sharing my story. I think it can be somewhat impactful, I think, for kids hearing the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations. I think of any athlete, we all have stories, and I like to share mine. My road wasn't as easy as maybe people kind of think, I mean, and I think when kids see me,
they see the product at the end of the road, but they didn't see how many doubters there were about Mike Bordick.
And there were times even in my youth. I mean, I was cut from teams, we traveled around. My dad was in the Air Force. So a lot of that stuff, it's not easy on kids, and the ups and downs that kids go through, and find a way to be resilient and persevere through some of the challenges I think that, a young life brings. And I think I can help kids with that. But the website itself is really kind of my life story. I share a little bit about my childhood, going up through, high school and college, up at the University of Maine, and professional ball and stuff like that. Got some pictures on there as well. And it talks too about some of the things I'm involved with. And since you mentioned that, the League of Dreams is on there, where they can just press a button and go see the League of Dreams. It's my nonprofit, helps give special needs kids of any need opportunities to play baseball and softball. We're expanding. We're getting into other sports. We have great partnerships with Maryland School for the Blind. We did a great clinic up at UMBC. We even went up to Leesburg, Virginia, and put on a great clinic up there. So, to be able to touch the lives of so many, I think it's fun to see the look on the kids' face, whether they make contact or catch a ball or throw a ball. But the parents, you see the tears streaming down their eyes because their kids just don't get these kind of opportunities. And then, of course, the impact it has on the volunteers. They get to take it right back out in their community and understand a little bit more about what's going on in that community. So to be able to help their peers that way.
That stuff with the League of Dreams is fulfilling to you. It's not where you make a lot of bread. I mean, you do it because it rewards you in a different way. I know that. Absolutely.
Well, and just a little history of it. And Frank Kalarick, who is from Catonsville, Maryland, who went to Catonsville Community College.
I remember Frank, yeah.
Yep, he ended up going to the University of Maryland and signed with the Oakland A's, and went up through the minor leagues with the Oakland A's. Didn't get a chance to play in the big leagues, but got to AAA, and he was involved with the Special Olympics, and he ended up changing course and starting the League of Dreams This is going to be our 20th year in 2023, and he started it right in his backyard with 17 kids, and we've serviced almost 40,000 kids in our state. So
You should be proud. You and Frankie should be proud of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's so much fun, and to be a part of that, it's really heartwarming, and feel like you're doing a really good thing. So
are doing a really good thing.
Definitely love that.
I'm going to let Ross ask you one or two more questions, and I want to ask you about one last thing about this, your affiliation with something called Alloy Sports, because with sports betting becoming legal in the state in a lot of different ways, I want to talk to you about that. But Ross, you got another baseball question?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to ask him what we always ask the guests on here with the next year.
We ask him for money.
I wasn't going to do that yet. That's my second question. No, Mike, the new rules coming into play for next year, the pitch clock, bigger bases, elimination of the shift. What are your thoughts on that? And what do you think? How's it going to affect the game?
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. I don't know how they can mandate things like this, especially get guys to keep their spikes in the dirt, then say you got to play in this pie right here. I think if they wanted to change the game, they would just teach guys how to beat the shift, teach them to be better hitters and not get caught up in trying to hit a home run every time. That would change the game back. They could change the game by bringing the ball back to the way it was back in the 80s and 90s. That would be simple. And then guys wouldn't have to tear down a left field wall and move it back 30 feet. I mean, there are different ways they can adjust the game, but I think they're trying to do different things to hopefully bring back more situational kind of brand of baseball. I think fans are starting to speak about it, and they're trying to find some way to do that. But I think it's going to come from general managers and managers say, listen, I guess now they can't do it, but last year they could have tried to beat the shift. If the team shifts on you, go the other way, lay down a bunt to try to get on base. I mean, the on base percentage, I think, is really important as well. But I guess you might see batting averages go up a little bit for some of these big lefty hitters. I think Chris Davis might end up coming back so that now he can get those base hits over the second baseman's head, right? Right. Then listen, there are a lot of hits taken away, I think, with the shift, and it'll be interesting to see how it all goes. I don't know. I just don't know how they can tell people where to play and get away with that. It just doesn't seem right to me. And they're, again, making the bigger bases to try to increase more stolen bases.
Have you seen them?
I mean,
have you seen them?
Yeah, they're
unbelievable.
I know.
Hey, Mike, the other night I heard Commissioner Manfred on with Bob Costas talking about the shifts, the changing of the shifts rule, where you got to have infielders in the dirt. Do you know that the amount of dirt space has not been uniform at every field around the country?
Right.
It will be starting this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
We always think of ballparks like old ballparks with nooks and crannies and the dimensions of the ballpark, but I think we all took for granted that the amount of dirt was always the same. It hasn't been.
No. Well, I think I knew that, and I think a lot of other infielders and players knew that there are always different cuts on dirt, and you just had to make your adjustment, figure out where to play. As a matter of fact, the heads-up infield coaches would kind of point that out, say, hey, listen, this one's cut a lot deeper, right? So you got to make your adjustment according to the ball. I always remember Fenway, it seemed like there was more dirt than grass there. I mean, it was huge. How much dirt there was on Fenway Park.
The players would actually have to look at the field and see that now.
Yeah. I
know,
right? I was never
actually
aware
look
of
at
that.
the field.
Yeah. Oh my
I
gosh.
was never aware of that. That's unbelievable.
No, it's crazy. Yeah.
Ross, I know you got one more, and then I'll ask.
Well, go ahead. No, I want to hear
about.
about what you mentioned, Stan. So that was my one question. Go ahead.
Okay. Mike, you were telling me about this, and I was intrigued by Alloy Sports. It's a research-based platform that helps people decipher information about games in case they want to wager a bob or two. I know you're not a bettor yourself, but do you understand how this works, Alloy
Yeah,
Sport?
it's really cool. And there's a really nice backstory to it as well. So a couple Pikesville guys, Brad and Spencer Kronthal, the brothers, grew up right here in Maryland. Brad was working with Masson actually in
Okay.
the production truck, and he approached me about 5 years ago. He and his brother wanted to develop an app that would help scouts better evaluate players, a
Okay.
little more quick time. They could create algorithms fast and kind of develop that for scouts. But everybody in baseball now is privy to their own information. So they basically kind of pushed us out the door and said, no, we got something like that. We don't need that.
Right.
So they changed direction and got
And
into the
after
gambling
sports
space.
better. Yep.
Absolutely. So they created an app this past year for the NFL season where you can punch in and customize your own algorithm, get it in real time. It shows your possible winning percentage on back-tested 9 years of back-tested data. So it's pretty cool. You can almost gamify it. Say all of a sudden you punch in the numbers, you filter, and boom, it says you got a 62% win percentage. Then you can all of a sudden say, wow, 62%, that's pretty good. Let me try to make another algorithm and see if I can get a little bit better. And then it's not an actual betting site, but you can be linked to places to go to a book and then make a bet. So
as
it's pretty neat.
As a user, would I go to Alloy Sports and buy the app, or
Yes, you get the app.
subscribe to it?
Yep, it's a subscription-based app.
Okay.
And I think it's $12 a month, and it's one of the cheaper actually out there right now. And it's kind of just meant for bettors to kind of have a better feel and an understanding of what they're doing instead of blindly saying, oh, I like the Ravens this weekend. Now they can kind of verify what they're thinking with some numbers. If they really enjoy sports, I like defense, so I definitely put defense in there, and I like home field advantage, things like that. So that would be part of my algorithm.
Dan, is this going to help us?
It could help us make money, Ross. It could help us make the money that we're searching for. It's interesting with sports betting. I intuitively, when a fantasy baseball started going on, like FanDuel and DraftKings, when you were picking teams and playing against each other, I intuitively didn't understand. I played it a few times and I thought I knew baseball pretty well, and I was always like in the lowest percentage of where I could have come close to winning. And I realized in short order, it's the people like Mike Elias or Dan Duquette that are bettors, those kind of people that know they sort of know the mathematics of this thing, and they know how to do it. And so this sounds like it evens the playing field a little bit.
It certainly does. I think it just puts more control in the fans' hand. It lets them customize their own strategies, and I just think it makes them feel a little bit better than kind of blindly going in and putting $10 down on a team.
Well, Ross and I have our own algorithms on picking NFL games because
they're really good too.
Together. Doesn't work very well. Neither of us work very well.
Hey, I'm better this week though.
Hey, do they have a website, Mike? Is it alloysports.com?
Yes, it is, alloysports.com. And you can go to App Store and check out Alloy Sports. The app will come up. Give it a try. It's really cool, and it's fun. You can do it right on your phone. So they've really simplified things.
All right. With sports gaming starting to be so prevalent, I might reach out to you and find out how I can get in touch with the Kronthal brothers.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I'd like to get them on a guest on another Zoom I do. All right.
Do we get a discount?
You would. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mike, we really appreciate you joining us, and we wish you and your family, and Ross, I wish you and your family very happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you guys. Mike, thank you so much, buddy. Always a pleasure seeing you and talking to you, man.
Yeah, same here, Ross. Take care.
Talking,
and
Mike.
you too. Happy
All right.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
My dog's saying it too.
He's been saying it for a while.
He's been saying it. He
Love it,
he
though.
loves the show. He
Yeah.
loves the show. All right. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Ross,
All right.
we're going to be back next week, Ross, you and I, with somebody else in the world of baseball. I'm gonna reach out to Mr. Palmer. And see
Oh,
if
we hadn't had
can't
him
get-
on in a while. We need to.
I'd
we
like
need-
to talk to Mr. Palmer.
We need to ask him a question and then just listen.
Is there any shot if I got Palmer, is there any shot you could get Bench on to sneak
Oh
on?
gosh, that would be
To sneak
something,
on.
wouldn't it?
You know, Bench is the only player, Mike, to ever hit a grand slam against Palmer in the minor leagues. Palmer
Oh,
never
wow.
gave up. Palmer never
No.
gave up a grand slam in the major.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Wow.
Bench hit one. All right. Hey
I
guys, that's pretty. Hey, here's one for you, Mike. The other day, my cousin Ron Matz read this on Twitter. Bob Gibson had more complete games than he had wins in the major leagues.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't know that.
255 complete games, 251 wins.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty amazing.
Wow. That is incredible.
He was scary.
He was
He
scary.
was a
I'll bet
scary
he-
guy.
Did you ever bat against him, Ross? Of course. you
Yes,
did.
I did.
Was
Wow.
it scary?
It's unbelievable. I was afraid to make contact or even try to. He used to during batting practice, he would have that big sweatsuit on
Yep.
and play third base and take balls blasted at him making play. He was a hell of an athlete.
Yeah, he was.
He could do it
Great
all.
basketball player.
Yes, he
Great
was.
basketball player.
But he was, what a tough guy.
All right. Hey, for Mike Bordick and Ross Grimsley, I'm Stan the Fan, and we wish everybody viewing this a very happy Thanksgiving to you and your families. We'll be back after the holidays. All right. Bye.
Yeah.